We are crushing it despite all of the bullshit that we have been up against. Why aren't we pulling ourselves up from that and being proud of each other? Why do we have to stoop to the level that a lot of the men did of the past, the present, and the future? And you're looking at the magazines, and what do you see? Beach bodies, who wore it better, hot versus not. It was bad. It's kind of like taking an anthill and squishing it and tearing it apart and then being like, the ants are mad. It's like, why are they mad though? Who destroyed the anthill?
Where did she go? Is she hiding in me? Behind dreams I used to dream. Help me see the world the way I used to do. Life was just good. Life was just.
Hello guys, and welcome to the 4th episode of Her Girlhood. I am so excited about this episode. I feel like this is something we really need as girls. For those of you who are new, Her Girlhood is a podcast all about finding pleasure in being a woman in girlhood. I have a different mic today. This is the mic that made it. This is, I think, the 2005 holiday Barbie. My mom let me unbox her, and I got to play with her, and now I have her, and she's in pretty decent condition still, given the fact that I've had her since I was probably 6, and I'm so happy because now she's a really beautiful mic holder, and she kind of matches me today, and I'm all for it. Anyways, guys, this week's episode I am so excited about because I feel like this is the episode where I really do the work that I have been working on since my divorce. And I know what you're thinking, why are you bringing your divorce into this conversation? And it is because I have grown so much love and respect for women since I've gotten divorced. And not only that, but I did have a betrayal by another woman. And I think in that, it really pushed me to do the work of healing myself and never ever putting that kind of trauma that I experienced from another woman and my ex-husband onto another person. I don't want to expel that onto you guys. You guys weren't the people who ruined my life. I already have those people. I am talking all about how to support other girls because this is a very under talked about topic. And not only is this not talked about at all, but this is needed nowadays. And I have so many reasons for that. I mean, number one, obviously, is that we live in a world designed for us to fail, yet we're succeeding at it. Now that the barriers are starting to get lifted, we as women are crushing it. We are outperforming our male counterparts in very big ways. And I want to talk about that today with you guys. We have been programmed as women to hate each other, to compare ourselves to one another, that men will only pick us if we fit into this very tiny box that we're supposed to fit into. This indoctrination may seem right. After all, we've known this for the past hundreds of years. This is all we've known, is how to fight with one another, how to hate one another. But now that women are allowed to succeed, now that we have more freedoms and the power of choice, something amazing and interesting is happening. We are climbing to the top in a world designed for us to fail, in a world created primarily by men. Now that the barriers are finally getting lifted, we are noticing something incredible. And I want to talk about that with you guys because we need to start loving ourselves. So we need to talk about these accomplishments and talk about how to take these accomplishments and some of the things that we do face. Because let's be real, we do face some really crappy things, okay? We've become so unstoppable that there is a male loneliness epidemic due to the women that fundamentally do not need men anymore to survive, okay? And I've been watching Bridgerton lately, and it's really reminded me of how far we've come. We are choosing solely based on character now, and what do you know? Men are single, and so are we. And we're choosing to be single because in the past, we were forced into marriages. We were forced into having to pick men solely based on things that will keep us safe because that was to survive. I know there are going to be like 3 men that watch this and they're going to be like, well, what do you mean? Isn't that gold digging? Have you ever ever done a little bit of a look into history? I'm gonna challenge you here, okay? You know what? Go to ChatGPT, sue me, right? That's what it's for. It's to collect information and actually ask it, in what ways were women forced into marriages? We were forced to marry because if we didn't, we couldn't even get a credit card. I think it happened I actually should make sure, but in the middle of the 1900s is when it happened, to which where we could have credit cards. Black women were not allowed to fucking vote until the 80s, okay? So do not come here and tell me that we were not built on a fundamentally imbalanced world. It is just now that it is balancing itself out. And men are wondering, well, why are women taking our places? We are taking your places because now that we don't have barriers, we are outperforming you. Not in every way. And you know what? Here's the other thing. I do want to preface this whole episode by saying I don't hate men. I don't hate men. I love men. Men are great. There are some amazing men. And without men, you know what? We wouldn't exist in a lot of ways, right? Like, we need both sexes to exist. We need the female energy and the male energy. That is what we need in society, okay? I'm not saying that they don't provide anything, but I am saying that the men that do have this very weird chip on their shoulders, like they're the ones struggling suddenly, it's because they're insecure that they now have to compete with more people and that those people are women and they were raised by women and men telling you to hate us. So yes, it's gonna make you feel a little weird because let's be real, this is the ugly truth. Us women were also designed to hate us. Women supporting women is a very new and very under talked about conversation that I think needs to happen. Now that we're at a place where we have broken some of the barriers, don't get me wrong, there are many more barriers that we need to continue to tear down, okay? But that is to say that we are here now and we are going to make do with what we've had and what we've learned about the world around us, which is that if you have another woman around you, we were taught to compete with her. We were taught to compete with her in a way that doesn't make sense. And I have theories on it, I have feelings on it. We're gonna dive in. This is a journey, guys, on how to love ourselves, how to love other women, okay? Because we deserve that. After all that we've been through, why do we hate each other so much? Why do we hate ourselves so much? Those fundamental pieces of female and feminine energy hatred. And I think it's because men, and I've seen this TikTok before, I think they're a little jealous. I think they're just a little jealous. And here's why. I don't think they envy us because let's be real, childbirth, pregnancy, puberty, postpartum, being 1 in 4 women are getting sexually assaulted. I don't think men envy us. Where we do have power, if you will, is that we create life. That if we really wanted to, we could go to sperm banks and find ourselves a suitor, if you will. These are things we have access to now, okay? I do feel like for a lot of guys, the jealousy comes in because they're seeing that we're doing better than we used to, and we can have babies, and we can provide life, and we are like the literal portal to someone being born and having a consciousness. Even on a scientific level, if you aren't even religious, that's insane. That is insane power, okay? And this isn't to hate on men. This is just to share from the research I have done and my experiences and growing up in a world where things were different. And my grandfather was over and he actually watches this podcast and I'm nervous on what he'll think of this episode. He was over and he was telling me that one of our family members didn't feel like she could pursue art. Like, that is how recent being a woman and the struggles and the barriers have been. This is a conversation that needs to continue to happen. So now that we've overcome some of those barriers, the residuals of the hate is still there. And a lot of guys don't know how to handle it. So they're kind of like, wait, but what about the princess treatment for us? And it's like, guys, are you having a period every month? Do you give birth to children and babies and then go through it up to 2 years of postpartum and then go through menopause and premenopause? Treat us with some respect. The way that we have attempted to give you for thousands and hundreds of years. And now that we are here and we're taking your place, it's scaring you because the people that you very much so broke down are coming up and we're figuring it out and we're doing it well. And it's scary for you because now it means that you need to then put in more energy or effort into your stuff when before maybe you didn't have to, okay? I want everyone to succeed in their own way. I am in full force for that. That is a full belief of mine. But the tearing down of women has happened for so long, and a lot of men like to put their hands up and say that they didn't play a role in it, when obviously the laws, the positions, we couldn't even, there were times where we were forced into marriage. There are countries around the world right now, Iran actually, where women are being unalived because they are not wearing some of the Muslim attire that some of these people want them to wear, because these men are coming in and making decisions for them. This is now. This is in 2026 that men hate women having freedom because it makes them feel some type of way, because the less people that they have to deal with that have freedoms means that they have less control, and the billionaires that are in control don't want that for us. And I love men. I think men have done a lot of amazing things, and men have also been the force in helping making sure that we are able to have place here. And there are many amazing qualities about men. But we're not here to talk about men. We're here to talk about women. That's what this podcast is all about. But I really needed to go on my TED Talk quick because I did want to make sure that I was very clear. Men are great, but this isn't about you. For once, this isn't about you. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay that it's not about you. This is a girlhood podcast. Go make a boyhood podcast and talk about those struggles, because I know darn well that you were not allowed to cry, and that's not fair. Talk about that. That is a full thing that you dealt with, and that is a full thing that has impacted the people around you and society and isn't good. It's not good. There are different triumphs and struggles men deal with. But again, back to women. How and where are we outperforming men? Because I thought this was very interesting, and I did want to do some research here because this was important to me to make sure we sit here and we talk about the things that women are doing well with. Don't mind me, I am going to have to read this because some of this stuff is just very fact-based and my memory is a little iffy. Across many OECD countries, women are more likely to obtain college degrees. We are also more likely to graduate college, which is crazy. And I think this comes from a lot of things. I think one, now that we have the choice, we want to take it, we want to do it. It's exciting to us. This is something that a lot of women didn't think they could do, because back in the day, being a mother and being a wife was really the only path, and now you can be both or one or the other. Like, you have choice. And now that we have the choice, we're taking advantage of it. So we're graduating more. We're going to college more often. According to coinlaw.io, we are actually becoming better investors. Now that women are getting more involved in investing, we are starting to do really, really good with it. We receive 0.4% more on our returns annually for our portfolios of investing, which is so cool. I think I butchered that, but you know what? Here we are. I'm not an investor, okay? Sue me. Women are less likely to overtrade or panic sell stocks, which then improves our net return. Go us, right? This is all about the cool things we're doing. Women tend to invest more conservatively and avoid impulse investment trends, which historically produces steadier gains over time. Women score higher on key leadership competencies like emotional intelligence, humility, integrity, social skills, and moral sensitivity. I find this to be so interesting because I've heard a lot of evidence claiming that women would make great leaders, and there are so many people that are like, men are the leaders, blah, blah, blah. And it's not to say that men can't be great leaders, but there's clear evidence to say that women also can be great leaders. So to me, it's like this push of men are leaders, men lead, yet we haven't really given women the chance to lead, yet they prove factually that we would potentially make really good leaders, if not better leaders in some cases. And again, I'm in my soft girl era. I do not need to lead the country or be in a position of power in that way. I want to create, I want to have my own place on the internet. Like, that is where I feel I stand. And I feel like there are many women who do want to have the chance to lead and be in leadership positions. And it is crazy to me that we have never had a female president out of the many years of presidencies that we've had, that we still haven't had a female. I would love to know how that would go. Anyways, let's keep going. In France, women make up the majority of doctors. Women graduate from college more. 40 44% complete their bachelor's when they go into college, compared to the 33% of men. Very interesting to me. We have higher GPAs. I am going to do a quick disclaimer. I'm going to be talking about sexual assault and be talking about crime. So if that is not something you want to hear or it triggers you, skip up a little bit and then I will be talking about more lightweighted things. However, let's go into some of the statistics on some things that women are dealing with and where women are still doing better. Men commit 90% of all homicides. Men are responsible for 80 to 90% of violent crimes. Roughly 60 to 70% of property crimes are also committed by men. Men make up 80% of the drug violation crimes as well. Men make up 75% of all arrests, and women are at 25%. Crime is crime, and evidence is evidence, and who is the one who is consistently doing the wrong thing? It's typically the man, okay? Let's keep going. We're still faced with all of this, okay? Let's go to some of the statistics that are a little bit more, honestly, really depressing. Like, this part of the podcast is a little depressing, but it'll get better, guys, I promise. I'm going to turn this into a more positive place, okay? 1 in 5 women, which is 18%, are R-worded in their lifetime. 1 in 5 women are R-worded in their lifetime. 99% of sexual perpetrators are men. They're male. 99%. This is why I want a boyhood podcast, because I feel like there is some healthy conversations and trauma dumping and just like really healthy work that can be done with our men, because I think men need to do better here. I mean, it's not even that men need to do better here, it's that this is an issue, and this is an issue that affects women. 99%, okay? Let's keep going. 27% of women experience childhood abuse, compared to a smaller percentage for boys/men. These are the things we're dealing with, yet we're still accomplishing all the things above us. All the things I just listed, we are still doing amazing, yet we are dealt with all of this trauma, you guys. This is where I feel so strongly that this podcast is so important, because women need to be uplifted. We are faced with really, really challenging things. 1 in 5 women, okay? That means that if 200 people watch this video on YouTube, that means that a good chunk of those people have dealt with being R-worded. That is too many women that are dealing with that. Too many, okay? Let's keep going, because I'm upset here, okay? This is a soft spot for me. I'm not going to share quite why, because there is a lot of desire for privacy amongst people that I know, but this is such an important conversation to have, because with what we deal with, 99% of sexual perpetrators are men. There's a large percent of women that also deal with sexual harassment at work. I think it's like 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 women deal with sexual harassment at work. These numbers shouldn't be high. These are numbers that I want to see lowered. And with that, why I'm trauma dumping, I guess I could say, is because we are crushing it despite all of the bullshit that we have been up against. We should be proud. And we should not only be proud, but we should be uplifting each other. Because if the people around us, the men around us, are going to abuse their power, we as women need to be better to each other. We do not want to stoop down to that level. We need to be better. We need to do so much better. And I will say, we have come a long way. I mean, let's be honest. I started watching Bridgerton, and when I was watching Bridgerton, again, I talked about it a little bit at the beginning of this episode, but it really reminded me of how far we've come. Really reminded me. I mean, the fact that like you essentially built up hobbies to have a man more interested in you back in that time period. It was all about being the perfect potential wife. Everything. Men could have mistresses, women could not. Like the fact that we have come from that, and that was a long time ago, but let's be honest. In the longevity of how long Earth has been here, on top of how long mankind has been here, think about how recent that is in the grand scheme of things, and how that energy continues to pull through now. Women are often set with the fact that if we don't do X, Y, and Z in the bedroom for our partners, then he'll cheat on us. We constantly have to keep up with these ridiculous, insane, and challenging and depressing things, like constantly. And yet we are still killing it. We are still doing so well. Why is that? Why aren't we pulling ourselves up from that and being proud of each other? Why do we have to stoop to the level that a lot of the men did of the past, the present, and the future? And again, I am not coming here to say that women don't suck, that there aren't bad women. Oh my gosh, I could think of a few people in my life or that have entered my life and ruined it. Like, I could think of a few people, okay? And one I could list by name, and it would fill me with a sense of F you. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to understand that, maybe that person that took advantage of a situation in my life, maybe they had traumas that they were dealing with. Maybe they were 1 in 5 women that I had just listed, and to pursue something was potentially to have that attention, to feel wanted and seen in some way after going through that trauma. And I empathize with that. I do. That is a disgusting thing to have to go through as a person, and women to go through it way too much. And again, I'm surrounded by really amazing men. My father, my grandparents, I have a lot of great men around me, my brothers, a lot of my cousins. There is a lot of amazing men out there. But let's be honest, men are hurting women more than women are hurting men. Men are abusing women. There's so much that we could sit here and do worse, if you will, than men are in terms of not graduating and not pursuing higher education and not investing, or the odds are stacked against us, yet we are pushing through this, and we're doing as good as we can with what we've been given. And why are we not excited about that? That's what this episode is for. As much as I did trauma dump, I want to be proud. I want to be proud of us because we have gone through some crap. Okay, let's talk about the hard truth of all of this. Because of the cards that we were dealt with, because of the way that the world has been built, and the odds being stacked against us in a lot of ways, we feel jealous. Women were made to compete with each other, and dare I say we are the prize that men should be competing for? Dare I say that? I do still think that men need to work harder for us. We're birthing your children. We're having the odds stacked against us. We're having periods and menstrual cramps monthly, perimenopause, premenopause. I really feel like now that we are kicking butt, the men are forgetting that, you know what? We are now choosing based on character. We are choosing based on solely what you are as a person. And now you're single. And now we're single. How funny is that? I don't love that. It's sad. I love that for women, we get to choose who we want to be with. Now it's not forced upon us to find someone to make sure we can get through life. We are fully able to sustain our own worlds in our life without a man, which is amazing. That's needed, especially with how many mothers become single moms in this day and age. We need to be able to support ourselves independently. We need to have skills and degrees and higher GPAs because we need to know we're going to be safe. Because so many men put us in positions that aren't safe, down to being a stay-at-home mother, and a man goes and cheats on you, and you're f***ed. Not to get emo here, but let's be so for real, okay? There are sacrifices that we are making constantly, even if it's a privilege, even if it is a privilege to be a stay-at-home mother, which it is in this economy. Let's be real, to be with your child, there is privilege in it. But it doesn't mean that it isn't brought in with a lot of risk. A lot of risk. Now here I am restarting completely from the ground up. Jealousy is here. Jealousy is loud. Jealousy is a feeling that is uncomfortable, but we feel it. Even people I love that I know, and the fact that they're able to still be in these marriages and be comfortable and be stay-at-home moms or working moms and be fulfilled and be supported in that, in terms of not just I'm doing this for you, like emotional support. How was your day? How are you doing? Do you need time for this? And then me being able to give that back, right? Like we're balanced out. Right? We're able to pour into each other's cups equally. I'm trying to be very mindful of how I discuss this because this has been something that has been on my mind. Women are amazing. No matter the cards we are dealt, we still are having babies and raising our babies by ourselves and doing this and doing that. There are women out there who are on their own because that man decided he just didn't want to be a dad. This is why this is important for me to be having this conversation, because women are so strong with our years and thousands of years of trauma, generational trauma being brought on one by one, and we are crushing it now that our limitations are being lifted. Yet we still are faced with some awful things, with some imbalances. And I don't want anyone to think that we should be balancing out abusing men either. I'm saying that it should just be going down. And these men need to do better. They really do. But women here are kicking butt despite all of that. And that's why I feel so strongly that women need to support each other more. Because we need to be each other's allies, because there are so many men that won't do that for us. There are many men that will. Your girlfriends are the deepest connections you will have. The relationship with your children, the mother and child relationship is one of the deepest relationships. Again, fostered by that feminine energy that we have, okay? Female relationships and friendships are so rich and true, which is why we aren't faced with the loneliness epidemic, because we are socializing. We're still deepening our friendships and our relationships with people. And I think that's where a boyhood podcast would be really great. Men could connect and be intimate that way. Like straight man to straight man, gay man to gay man, just true intimacy, like emotional intimacy. That's why a lot of women are left in relationships where they're like, oh my gosh, I couldn't talk with him. We weren't talking. We weren't having conversations. I think there's so much power in feminine energy. And I will say there's some really cool science behind our chattiness. The reason why women are more chatty, as men like to say that we talk too much, right? The reason why we are is because when you have a baby, we are typically with the baby, and language is so important. So in order for a baby to learn its language, it's learning from its mother. So it's literally for us to teach the next generation of men and women how to speak. So we talk. Oops, sue us. God, I just can't get behind the female hate. And then the other thing too, the old wives' tales, let's go into that. I'm venting here now. The old wives' tales of pregnancy is a woman who looks bigger or gained more weight. She's pregnant with a girl. If she's crabbier, she's pregnant with a girl. Oh my God, you guys, that's people are still doing old wife tales videos on TikTok. That is still prevalent info. That is still prevalent in society, is women suck. You're hearing that in the early 2000s. Don't be a wuss. You know the word P-U-S-S-Y? I can't with that one, because let's be so for real. A ball sack cannot even handle a flick. Yet we're pushing infants out of our P-U-S-S-Ys. Thank you very much. They needed to take anything we had as our strength and use it as a weapon. This podcast is getting a little wild, but the anger I have for this, it is not okay. So let's not use P-U-S-S-Y anymore. Let's use something else. Let's get more creative here, okay? I'm not trying to flip the script. I'm just trying to fix the script. Women feel this scarcity mindset because, again, we've been taught that there are only this and there's only that, and he will only pick you with this, and he'll only pick you with that, and he'll only stay if you do X, Y, and Z for him constantly and forever. And that is not okay. We are programmed by birth to pick out every single feature on our bodies as to why it could be better. Do we see those ads for men? They might be starting slightly, which again, I don't want. Let's go back to 2006. You're at the grocery store with your mother and you're looking at the magazines. And what do you see? Beach bodies. Who wore it better? Who's doing it better? Who's hotter? Hot versus not. It was bad. And that is how we were raised. Subliminally messaging everywhere about who was beautiful and who was not, and who was getting fat, and who was this and who was that. You can't be too skinny. It's tiresome. So yeah, our insecurities make us feel like we need to compete with one another, that there may not be enough room for all of us because there's such a tiny little box created by the male CEOs of these companies, telling us these messages that we are not enough as we are. Just to breathe and be as a woman, we can't. And yeah, as women, we feel that. And a lot of guys, again, they like to be like, well, you guys are the mean ones to each other. It's kind of like taking an anthill and squishing it and tearing it apart and then being like, the ants are mad. It's like, why are they mad though? Who destroyed the anthill? I don't want to see my daughter get raised in a world where she is seeing seeing us berate children. I'm gonna go real niche here. One of my biggest pet peeves right now are the conversations about Blue Ivy and Northwest. 12-year-old children that are being compared to one another. I hate this. This is exactly what we did to Britney Spears. This is exactly what we did to Amanda Bynes. Why are we doing this in 2026? Who cares what she's wearing? She's 12. Let's be so for real. When you were 12, you were also putting on way too much makeup secretly. You were wearing some weird stuff. Like, let her be a kid. Why is it a public written article about a 12-year-old girl? I don't see this about 12-year-old boys. So don't tell me that this isn't still happening. And it is not just happening, it is happening to children. In 2026, Northwest should not be an article about what she's doing, what she's wearing, and how she looks. What the fuck? Anyways, it's human to feel jealous when you still see that they are comparing 12-year-olds to each other and figuring out who's better. What do you mean? Like, I can't. It's enraging. It's enraging that we live in a world like that still. I cannot handle that is the world that my daughter is being raised in. We need to have conversations about this and uplift each other again. So how are we going to start doing that? How are we going to start loving each other, women? Because we have to do it ourselves. To love yourself and to love thyself is, in my opinion, to journal, get hobbies, and dive into your inner girlhood. Dive into that inner child energy and that inner child work of your truest pleasurable self. And I know the word pleasure has a lot of connotations to it. There's a lot of other meaning to that word. But when I talk pleasure, I mean joy, enjoyment, to its purest form. When you are journaling as a little girl and you're doodling, you're in pure pleasure mode. You're just having a good time. And women don't often feel the pull to be able to indulge in that way. We are constantly giving. Our bodies are constantly in sacrifice. So for us to indulge back into ourselves is really hard for us to do. So I'm challenging you all today. Commenting. Everyone comment. What is something you can do that is an indulgence, a healthy indulgence, that'll bring you back to that girlhood feeling? For me, I've talked about it before, it's holding a Barbie and recording a podcast episode and having these conversations. For me, it's junk journaling right now. I've been junk journaling, playing with my daughter, making little beads, going outside, because I was a little girl who loved to go outside. I think 90% of little girls loved to go outside. That's another stereotype I want to break. We were playing mermaids in the pool. So I go outside with my daughter, put on our snow pants, and we go to the beach and we get messy. She plays with the sand. We went to the snowy beach because I live around Lake Michigan area, so we were able to do that. That was really fun. Letting us get messy, letting us get creative, letting us be in touch with our inner girlhood. Repeating mantras. This one here I feel like is so healthy and important. I think every woman should repeat this in the morning. There's room for me too. I will make room for me. There's room for me too. I will make room for me. This is a mantra that I think every single woman should repeat themselves in the morning. Because when you tell yourself that there's room, not only do I believe in the law of attraction and the law of word and the law of belief and the law of thought, but that energy, that confidence, that frequency of there's room for me will allow you to stop thinking of a woman as someone who's in the way of your spot. She's not. Just make room for yourself next to her. We don't need to compete. Let her be successful. We have been conditioned to be in that masculine competitiveness, and we don't need to do that. We are creators. Let's just create more room for us. It's okay. There's room for her and there's room for me, and we can both be beautiful in the same room, and we can both be talented in the same room. There's room. There's room for me. There's room for you. I really feel like this is the most powerful statement anyone can say right now. Any woman, any man even. There's room for me. There's room. You can make room. By making room, it's not to abolish someone else. It's to just make your own space next to them. Oops, you know what I mean? My next one that I have been working on as far as how I'm going to self-love and put more love into women, to pour this love back, to help our women, is raising good kids. I am currently a mother to a daughter right now, which I think is the most important job I have ever had in my entire life. And my goal is to make sure she doesn't feel the need to put other women down around her. So the way that I do that is I'm not going to be talking poorly about other women in the way that they look in front of her, because it's so toxic. And it is brought on, again, by how we were raised. Learning how to speak kindly to people. It is so important for me to give her that. Like, again, if she's kind of being sassy, she's 3. So you know what? That's like part of the 3-year-old energy, is to say some wacky things. And I'm like, girly, what's a better way we could say that? What's a nicer way we could say that? And it's not she can't have power and she has to be this meek woman. It's no, to be a strong woman is to be good with our word and to be able to speak kindly about one another. Let's keep going. Complimenting women in front of my child in a healthy way, not in a, oh, I wish I was. I do not talk negatively about myself in front of my daughter either. Why would I give her that? Why does she need that? That is not what I want to give her. In fact, I've seen some people do that in front of her and I don't love that. Yes, you might feel that way, but you don't need to give that to my daughter, because she's going to project and feel that about herself. The fear, the jealous, the competition that we don't need. I feel like this can go to childless women. If you're with a child, if you're an aunt or an uncle, or if you're a grandma, talking positively about other women, being excited about it. If I ever see a conversation where a child is talking negatively about girl things, I was always the first one to be like, no, that's actually pretty cool. And did you know X, Y, and Z positive thing about feminine energy? I remember there was a little boy who was saying something about girls or girly this or girly that. And I'm like, actually, I think that's pretty cool. And did you know blah, blah, blah? I don't go for it. Even in little boys, I will redirect that conversation. Girly is not a bad word. Girly girl being something that we were afraid of, that, oh, she's too flowery. She likes pink too much. What? Let her like pink too much. Doesn't mean you can't go in like blue and black and gray. Let her enjoy a color. Because let's be so for real, we assigned colors as genders. If my son one day likes pink, he likes part of the rainbow. Okay? Sue me. It's part of the world. Let's be so for real. I'm so anti negative conversations around children. So again, when I'm around other kids prior to kids, I always tried to have healthy conversations about girls and women, and making sure that our sons and the men around us, the boys around us, are not being raised to think feminine energy is lesser than, to squash it, to not like it. I don't go for that. Feminine energy is creative energy. It's inner girlhood. It's hobbies. It's creation. That's what feminine energy means to me, at least. I guess I would love to know, what do you feel is feminine energy? Do you have a different interpretation than me? Because I am not the ruler of feminine energy or girlhood. I would love to have more thoughts, because my thoughts are fun and great, but I need other thoughts too. I'd love to hear from you. So supporting women around you that trigger you, the women that are succeeding in something that you want so badly, being an ally, being someone who's like, good work, I'm so proud of you, even if it feels like it pushes against something in you and you feel that secret little rage of jealousy. We all feel it. I have felt it. I have felt it recently, where I have felt the feeling of, where's my place on this earth? Can I find that? Is there room for me? It is a real feeling, the feeling of needing to belong, right? So yeah, I'm very pro complimenting other women. I'm very pro supporting other women. I think a challenge for you as the viewer is, if there is a woman that triggers you, that instinctively you feel this desire to compete with, because again, we are raised that way, is there something you can do to push against that, to challenge yourself, to support this woman? Be the woman that you needed as a child. Again, that's being that cool aunt that came over and just was there and fun and exciting and was excited to hear what you had to say. Be the woman you wanted to be as a little girl. That is true healing. Healing is to then be able to pull that energy around you and be like, we can all exist and be here together and it's okay. You know what I mean? So be the woman you needed as a child, because to be that woman is to then help the women and the children beneath you, because the children beneath you are going to grow up and they're going to also have their biases, and we want to raise better kids, better children. This is a very weird place to take this, but for the men that wrong you, let him suffer. If they're going to pick another woman over you, as effed up as it is, and I will say I'm still learning how to deal with this, let him. There's no reason for you to fight over someone who didn't value you in the first place. They're not going to hear you. If they wronged you that hard, you're not going to make them more jealous. You're stooping to his level. Let him have a mistress. And you know what? When you find out, go find someone hotter. Oops. Let's keep going. I guess all that to say is, women need to do better, because men have done us so wrong in a lot of places. And we as women have also done us so wrong. And I don't want that to continue. I don't want to see the future generations raised that way. So my closing statement is we make it happen no matter the hurdles. So now we need to give back to each other and to ourselves by loving our inner girlhood. Anyways, you guys, I hope to see you guys next week. I am hoping to have a slightly lighter and less depressing podcast episode, but at the same point, I do feel like this was an uplifting one. I do feel like this was a needed conversation to be had, that we need to stop hurting each other. We're already being hurt. Why are we hurting each other? We need to build a better anthill, right? Like we need to build a stronger anthill. And you know what? Let's see how we can do it without these men who are bringing us down. I'm going to close it with this. If there is a woman who is not healed and dealing with her own trauma and she is bringing you down, number one, I think you can say, I don't think you mean that. It'll always kind of shock someone to their core when you're like, I don't think you mean that. And then also distance yourself. And let them know why. Do them a service and tell them the reason why I am letting you go out of my life is because you have made me feel not good. Being around you hasn't made me feel good. You are constantly belittling people around you and myself, and I don't deserve that. And if we can have a friendship or a relationship one day where that can happen, that's great, but I need to take a step back right now. And you will be so surprised to see what happens in your life when you remove toxic people from it, okay? Men and women involved. Anyways, I would love to know what you got from this episode. Let me know down in the comments below if you think I said anything that was too far or too inappropriate. Let me know in a constructive way. Again, let's boost each other up, not tear each other down. If there's something in here that you wanted to talk more about. And you know what? If you have podcast episode ideas or recommendations, I'd love to know. Anyways, I will see you guys very, very soon with another episode.